What does God have to do with politics? Well, I know there's a lot of people in politics that use God as another way to divide and conquer, to say, like, we will appeal to the Christian voters, we'll appeal to the Jewish voters, we appeal to the Muslim voters. And that is not the God that I'm talking about. And in some ways, I can say to myself, maybe I should just use a different word, like inner spirit, or internal connection, or spiritual work. But I feel like God is, we can also work on changing our perception of this word that is also very conditioned by so many years of religions taking it and doing what they do with it. I'm not saying all religions are bad, but eventually all religions will disappear, will dissolve, and there won't be a need for it because people will be themselves able to connect to the God within. And this is not the God that is the judge, the big scary God that religion sometimes use to control and manipulate. This is every person's internal direct connection to the source, to the creator, and to recognizing that they are one of many expressions of this creator, and they also have their ways of creation and expression and joy in the world. And that inner recognition and connection and knowledge means that you know that you are coming from the same source, which you can say in theory, but experientially to know that means that you can never hurt another being intentionally. You could never play these games of war and divide and conquer. And in that way, I think politicians do use the word God, but not in the way that I wish to see it personally. And and I wouldn't actually vote for a politician that didn't do their inner work, let's say. Now, how do I know? It's not something that they can put on their CV. And even if they use the language for it, like the work of unification, it's often the vibe, the frequency, the energy is off. So it's also not something that they can prove by just speaking. You just know it from knowing it yourself and connecting. And why there's so few politicians like this, they just can't. Every time somebody gets into this political system, they have to survive. And to survive, you need this game of power and divide and conquer and control. And that's why I'm not for giving my power to the system anymore. Instead, I wish rather to encourage to find directly that connection with the divine, and form systems that come out of that direct connection, because those systems will be so much more unified because they come from that knowing. It's not going to be something that is just theoretical, or it's just a way to divide and look at different sections and how we're against each other. It's a really holistic picture, and you might say, oh, you're like either 200 years ahead or just dreaming. I don't know which one. But I don't think we're so far away from that, actually, because I think in many ways people are conscious of this connection, this spiritual connection. And in many ways people are tired of hurting each other because of some made up idea of God and not the true one. And so that's why I think that the entering of God into the conversation, into the political conversation, is important, but not in the way of using it to divide, but in the way of truly seeking the unification of people and all of nature, actually, not just people. And a more integrative approach, because when you have a more integrative approach in who we are and what we are and part of this earth and part of the galaxy, not just this earth even, then you also treat things more holistically, like our health. Another way that we can not do the divide and conquer method, but look more holistically at who we are as beings and treat things more holistically. And this could be, if this is the base from which you work, this could also be the way to remedy some of the sickness that we have in society today. The mental health issues are part of a larger crisis. The cancer, the amount of cancer that we have, part of a larger question. It's not just something that's just passed in your genes and then you do some tests for it and then you remove organs out of your body. All of these things can be treated in a bigger, more holistic picture if we can recognize that we are part of something bigger. And to do that, you go this way inward. It's not like a theoretical thing that you can pick up in your mind and just apply. It really is the work. And the work that I do anyway in facilitating groups has to do with really like not avoiding what is there. And by learning to not avoid what is there, we start to not reject parts of ourselves. We start to act towards the self-love instead of rejecting ourselves, avoiding ourselves, ignoring parts of ourselves, the parts that we project to others that we say is this person's problem or this society problem or this person did this to me. We kind of take it back and own it and see it in ourselves. And that is inner work, and that is spiritual work also, because in the end, when you go so deep in yourself, you reach God. And so that's the God that I would like to put back into politics. That's the God that I want to have the conversation about. Not the divide and control, but the unifying God that makes us recognize that we are part of a much bigger picture here. And it requires some work, but I'm all in for it.